This will be a pretty quick session. So we have some things, and I'm sure you guys have some questions even so. I received that you want the visualization thing to be done once again. But before that, about where we had left yesterday with insights. So whoever is doing the inside view, you will know that you have your insight somewhere like this in a sheet, right? So if this is your sheet, you know that. What are the things that you need as a dimension? How do you want to classify your sheet? So it's a pretty simple thing that we do. So suppose it's a brand audience indication, brandedness, start date and end date, because the start date and end date is required. Because if you want to toggle your dates, you know if you want to toggle your dates and you want your insights to change, so you want start dates, end dates. Then comes like channel tactic, etc. 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 How do you want to filter your data? You know it better. And alongside you have your insights, right? Let me know. If in case something is not clear, then I'll take it. And always remember that whatever rows you have, and this I'm showing in an Excel, it can be a Google Sheet. The process remains the same. So it has to have a number. Why? Because any data set you map, you need to have a metric. So metric is not present in an insights data sheet. But what you can do is you can define a unique number for yourself for the cells that has data. And that will act as a thing. Next, what we do is we do nothing, but we concat the data. We do a concatenation of all the things that are presented here, so that everything is concatenated. Just that. Apart from the optimized apart from the column which has the insights, you basically go ahead and concat everything. Why do we concat? Just to make sure that everything is unique for me. And how will it be unique? Because, if at all there is any duplications in the other columns, we have defined a unique metric. So we have this unique number. So this unique number basically acts as making the columns unique. And basically what you do is you go ahead and create a key using the, by concatenating stuffs. Till now, it is fine. The same thing happens like whenever you have anything by whatever things you want to have as filters, do concatenate and create a key. So that there is a key which acts as a key there as well, to showcase your this thing. The insights that you have for yourself. Okay. So basically I have done nothing, but I have just put the connect and mix and I have connected this sheet which I had saved, and just inserted it into the Datorama. So what have I done? The start date has is when. Oh, the first thing is it may recognize the data as an ads data set. So you know how to switch your data streams from here. So you need to go ahead and you have to choose generic. Why? Because this is not an ads data set, so you need to choose whatever is not ads. You need to choose a generic data stream. Once you have chosen it. So generic data stream has the main entity as main generic entity key. Excuse me. Main generic entity key. I have defined the insight name, but you can avoid that as well. So if you want to have an insight name, you can have it. I just kept it to show that how a generic insight name looks like. So you can very well avoid as well. And then all the other filters that you want to filter your insights with becomes the attribute of the main entity. Okay. So everything becomes the attribute of the main entity, key, and just that. The unique number becomes the generic metric 1. So this is generic metric. So here I have mapped everything, just to show you that main generic entity attributes are there which you can map your stuffs. But all this conc and end date, these are not needed even. So whatever is needed, you can just map that to your data. And you have the unique number over here which basically is mapped to generic metric. Okay. So, once you have done this and saved it, so what happens? What you need to declare. Your things are optimization highlights, which I had written the insights in. Correct. So once you go over to Datorama, what you do is you basically take a rich text box. How to take a rich text box? You go to this plus sign and you go over here to rich text. Okay, once you take a rich text, it looks like this, and in edit you can go and write. Okay, so over here as well. What we have done is we have taken it. We have edited the rich text box and we have taken in a query in which we have declared this attribute that we have connected. Okay, the optimization highlights that come in main, generic entity attribute 6. You can just go ahead and put it there. And main generic entity, attribute 9. Because we had 2 columns of insights. What file is this? This is the one. Okay, so, as we had see, there were 2 sets of insights that were there. In one column we have some. In the other column we have some. So we mapped both the columns in Datorama, and this not only helps us to have accommodate multiple insights, but also it helps us in segregating the sentences as well. So I guess there is a character limit of 300 or something per line or something. Some kind of a limitation is there. I am not remembering the exact number, but there is a limitation. You know, per line, there is per sentence, there is a character limit that comes in, and this is a Datorama issue and not a JavaScript issue. So what you can do is, if your sentence is long, you can just declare it. This is my jugadd process, but if you want to avoid this process and you have any other process, you can feel free and you can go ahead with it. So what I do is I divide my columns into 2, and also in this case that is not done. But what we have is two columns that are mapped, and both these columns are mapped as generic and generic attributes 6 and 9. And when I have gone over here, what I have done is I have declared 6 and 9 as the queries in the in over here. When you do that, what happens is the text come up and we have used a bullet in our query in so that data comes in bullets, and now it is. And now what you do is you create filters. You can add filters, like you can go over here and you can choose a filter for yourself. So there is this filter widget and you can go over there and you can, choose anything. Say suppose you can choose a brand and you can then apply it back to this. Anyways, once you can choose this brand and always, widget can be applied to. So suppose you chose over their brand and then what you do is you apply it to specific widgets. So once you think that you want to filter this widget, there is this widget title that comes up over here. It is coming as no title, or over here it is coming as insights. So what you can do is you can go to a filter widget, choose brand as your column which you want to, want to have as filtered over. Here I have many brands, and what you do is you go to specific widgets and you basically see there is insights that. So this list basically shows the list of all the widgets that are there. So, from there, you can just choose one, choose insights which you want to filter as part of your. I want this to be filtered, or I want this to be filtered. This widget name can be taken and you can go ahead and in the filter where there is applied to specific widgets, you get the list. You just check it off there. So once you do that, what happens is you basically get to select your brand. Once you select your brand, what happens is brand-specific insights comes in. And now from here, suppose you have some other thing that you want to filter. Next what you can do is you can go over there and select a TTC, maybe. So what happens is things get filtered accordingly. Okay, again, if you want to make further filtration happens, so on and so forth. So things that you have as part of column and you define it here and make them as filters and apply to your widget, things start working according to rich text. What you need to do is you need to go to JSA like JavaScript and you have to define it there.